Hello and welcome to this Python tutorial. So in the previous tutorial we introduced a dataset which we imported as well. So if I double click on here, we have a dataset of 1000 reviews which are reviews of some restaurants. And for each of those reviews we have this liked column here which tells if yes or no the review is positive. So 1 means that the review is positive. Indeed, for example, if we take the first review, wow, love this place, well, of course, that's a positive review, so we have a 1 here. And then when the review is negative, then we have a 0, as it is the case for this second review here. Crust is not good. Indeed, that's not a good review, so it takes a 0 in this liked column. And now what is our mission? Our mission is to make a machine learning model that will predict for any new review if it is positive or negative. But mostly that's not the most important part here, because what we're doing for this data set, as I told you in the first tutorial, we will be able to do it for other kinds of text, even when the purpose is very different. So keep in mind that instead of having reviews here, you can have articles, you can have written speech, some discourse, since indeed discourse analysis is a branch of natural language processing. Okay, so we imported this dataset correctly. Now we know what we have to do. And the first step of working with text and making a model to predict things on text is to clean the text. And why do we have to do this? It's because what will happen in the end is that we will create what's called a bag of words model or bag of words representation. And this will consist of getting only the relevant words in the different reviews here. So that means that we will get rid of all the non-useful words like the here or on or another the, and these are not relevant words because these are not the words that will help the machine learning algorithm to predict if the review is positive or negative. So that's what we'll do. We'll get rid of these kind of words. We will also get rid of the punctuation, like for example, we will get rid of this 3 little dots here that doesn't tell much about whether the review is positive or negative. We will also get rid of numbers, unless numbers can have a significant impact. And we will also do what's called stemming, which consists of taking the root of some different versions of a same word. So for example, we have this loved word here. Well, loved is the past tense of the verb love, and so applying stemming on this word will consist of only taking love here, because whether we have loved or love, that gives the same hints on whether the review is positive or negative. And why do we need to apply stemming? It's in order not to have too many words in the end and, to regroup the same versions of a same word like loved and love, or even loving, into a same word, love. So that's stemming, and we'll also take care of get rid of the capitals, so we will only have the reviews in lower text. And then once all the reviews are cleaned, we will proceed to the last step of creating our bag of words model, which is the tokenization process. And what does it do? Well, simply it splits all the different reviews into different words, which thanks to the text preprocessing will only be relevant words, and then we'll take all the words of the different reviews and we will attribute 1 column for each word, so we will have a lot of columns, and then for each review, each column will contain the number of times the associated word appears in the review. So we'll have a lot of zeros because for each review, a lot of words don't appear in the review, and we'll have a couple of ones for the words that appear once in the review, and then a few 2s and less 3s, etc. So if you followed part 5, association rule learning, and therefore we're already introduced to sparse matrices, well, we will get here another sparse matrix, because of course we will get a lot of zeros in this sparse matrix, because for all the reviews, most of the words will not be in the reviews. So we will have to do something about it, but that will be the last step of the creation of our bag of words. So let's start cleaning the text, that is cleaning each one of the review. And so to do this, what we'll do is we will first do the different steps of cleaning one review, and we'll take the first review here. So we will apply the different steps of the cleaning process for this first review only as a first round, and then second round will be to take a for loop to go through all the reviews and apply the different cleaning techniques on all the reviews that we applied for this first review here. All right, so let's do this. Let's clean this first review and then we'll clean the rest. So I'm going to press OK here and let's do it. So what will we be starting with? Well, we need to import a library that will help us clean the text, the reviews, more efficiently. And this library has a very simple name because it is called RE. And this library has some great tools to clean efficiently some texts. So, as I told you, we're going to clean the first review and then make a for loop to clean the other reviews. So, first of all, let's have a look at this first review. And to do this, we just need to type here in the console dataset, which so far is a data frame, then use some brackets to access to the review column that we need to put in quotes. All right, then close the brackets and then another opening bracket, and then we input the 0 index because we want to have a look at the first review, and indexes in Python start at 0. So we close the bracket and now we can have a look at the first review. I just pressed enter here and indeed that's the first review. So wow, loved this place. Okay, great. That's the original version of the review, and you're going to see step by step how we clean this review and what the review looks like at the end once we're done with the cleaning process. Okay, so speaking of cleaning process, let's start with the first step. So we will do this first step here, just below the import of the RE library, and we will call this new cleaned version of this first review, well, we will call it review, very simply. We will, each time we clean the review with a new cleaning, well, we will call this new version of the review, review, to make it simple. So now we have to use the RE library with a dot to take the method that will be useful to do this first step of the cleaning process. And what is this first step going to be? Well, it's going to be about only keeping the letters in the review. So that means that we will remove the numbers, we will remove the punctuations, for example, the exclamation points, question marks, or anything. We will get rid of all these characters and we will keep only the different letters from A to Z. So the tool that will help us do this is the sub tool, which is here. So I'm pressing enter, and now in parentheses I need to input the different parameters of this sub function. Okay, so what is the first parameter? The first parameter is what we want to remove in the text, so in the review. And we're not going to give a list of all the different characters we want to remove. The trick that we're going to use is we will input what we don't want to remove. And so to do this, we need to add some quotes here. And then in the quotes, we add some brackets. And then in these brackets, we add a hat like this. And following this hat is what we don't want to remove in the review. So that's all the letters from A to Z. So not the letters from A to Z. We don't want to remove any letter from A to Z, but we also don't want to remove the capital letters from A to Z. So we will also include here all the letters from capital A to capital Z. All right, and therefore that first parameter here means that we don't want to remove any letter from A to Z, whether it's capital or not, in the review. And as you might have guessed, the review is going to be another parameter of the sub function. So I'm adding a comma here to specify where we want to remove the characters that are not from A to Z. And so this parameter is going to be our first review. So I just need to copy this because this is nothing else than our first review. So copy, and I will add this parameter here to specify to the subfunction that we want to remove in this first review here all the characters that are not characters from A to Z. All right, but then that's not all, because when we remove a character from the review, well, the two characters that are at the left and at the right of this character that we are removing are going to be stick together. And this might be dangerous because this might create a word that doesn't make any sense if two different parts of a word are stick together. So in order to avoid this, it would be safer to replace this character that we're removing here thanks to this first parameter into another character that would be a space, because then we would avoid the problem of having two parts being stick together. So in order to separate the two parts, well, that's safer to add a third parameter here, which will actually be a space. So here it is, and in this quotes here I'm going to add a space actually, and so the removed character here will be replaced by a space. Now of course let's not forget to add the comma here to separate the three parameters, and now we should be fine. So let's have a look at what the first review becomes once we clean it with this sub function. So I'm going to select these two lines here to also import the RE library, and now press Command and Control plus Enter to execute. Here we go. Now the first step of the cleaning process is done. Let's have a look at what the review became. So I just need to type review here and press Enter. Here we go. So as you can see, only the letters from A to Z were kept, whether it's capital letter or not capital letter. So wow, love this place. The three little dots that were here just disappear because these are not letters, and therefore first step done. So great, and we will do the second step of the cleaning process in the next tutorial. Until then,